Welcome to the Human Body Systems project, specifically Compiler Part 2, adding the diagram and scene. This is the last of the video, so if you've gotten this far, congratulations. Nothing really that you need to know that you don't already know, just making sure that everyone's completed their project. I would actually say just make sure that the two buttons that we've worked on so far, the quiz and the fun facts, is working. And then you can go ahead and start with this video. So with that being said, here's what I have so far. I've got my quiz button working and I've got my fun facts. And now I just need to make sure that the final two parts are working, the diagram and scene. So I'll start with the easier one. I'll go ahead and start with diagram. And what I want to do is make sure that I've added the diagram to the from my backpack to my current code. So I'll go ahead and drag this over. And so now my diagram is there, but it's kind of sitting over my menu, which is fine. I'll go ahead and take care of that. So what I want to do is the first thing is drag over when flag clicked, and I want to just hide that. Okay. I want to have when flag clicked and hide, and then lastly, when I receive diagram, I want to show, and I want to make sure that that's showing. And then the last thing that I want to have is when I receive main menu, I want to hide. So that's back in our events drawer. When I receive, and I'm going to be looking for main menu, I want to go ahead and hide. Okay, so at this point, I've got when flag clicked, hide. I put a show button after when I receive, and I added when I receive main menu, hide. Okay, so let's make sure that that's working okay. When flag click, that's hiding. When I click on my diagram, perfect. And now I'm going to make my recording. This recording is about the trachea. Okay, I'm actually going to stop it there because I realize that I forgot to switch my background, because I did make a background for my diagram. If you recall, when I click on my stage and go to backdrops, I did make a background for it, and it says diagram on here, but obviously my sprite is covering that, and that's fine with me. I just want to make sure that it changes. So going back to scripts, I'll click on the diagram again. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I receive the diagram, that the actual backdrop changes. So I'll go to looks and I'll go to switch backdrop, and I'll switch that to diagram. Okay, so now when I click my flag and I click diagram, now it's working the way that I want it to go. This recording is about the trachea. And I can click back to my menu. So we're done with the diagram. We are on to the last part of our project, and that is the interactive scene. As always, what I want to do first is I want to drag over all of my related sprites. Okay, all of my related sprites are here and they're existing there, but as you can tell, they are all in the middle of everywhere right now. So all of them should have the when flag clicked hide code already. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just click the flag, and it takes care of that. Now, the only thing that I want to do is I want to go in and make sure that something's actually functioning here. So I'm going to go to each one of these sprites, and I want to make sure that this right here is actually accurate. You'll notice that there's a little question mark that showed up, because remember, if this is touching that line or whatever it is that you have, it should be saying something, right? Well, when we pull it from the backpack here, this changes. So this is the line, but notice it's called sprite 6, right? But if you look over here, it's looking and saying sprite 1, and then there's this question mark that came up. Yeah, we don't want it to show to say anything when this is touched. We actually want to change that to sprite 6. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to change each one of these to sprite 6 and make sure that that's correct for all of them. Okay, now that's set. Let's go ahead and click our flag. And then the last thing that I want to do for all of these sprites is I want to make sure that when flag clicked, or sorry, when main menu, they're hidden. So I'm going to drag over from events. When I receive main menu, I want to go ahead and hide. And so this is something that I want for all of my sprites. So what I can do, as I've shown you before, is when I've got code for multiple sprites, I can drag it, place my cursor over it, it snaps back. But when I look over here, this code was just now copied there. Okay, so now I've got my code for main menu right here. I'm going to drag it over to lung. Okay, and now I'm going to just clean up my code. I like it when it's nice and neat so that I can find out any mistakes. Drag it to 2 more sprites. Yep, snapped over here. And lastly, my last sprite. Great. When I receive main menu, hide. So let's make sure that this is working. I'll go ahead and click on scene and make sure that everything's working normally. I obviously put the wrong text in there. Okay, great, that's working. All right. Now the last final thing. I think I said the final thing before, I was mistaken. I need to add a main menu button because in all of these sprites I have this thing that says when I receive main menu. So let me go ahead and make a main menu button. And I'm just going to make that as a new sprite. So I'm going to paint it as a new sprite. And you can decide however you want this button to look. I'm just going to make it just a regular button that says main. Enter will get me to the next line, menu. And when I click out, I can resize it if I need to. Just as you've known and learned, I can move it over to wherever I want. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. Great. Oops. I've got my main menu button and I'm going to call it main menu. Okay. Now, since I've got it painted, I obviously don't want it right there at that time. So I'm going to go to my scripts and add my final code. I'm going to go to when flag clicked. I'm sure you can tell what I need it to do. I need it to hide, but I want it to be placed in the right place. So I want main menu kind of in the corner here. And so I'm going to go ahead and put in where those coordinates are. Go to that particular location. Here's one block of code. When flag clicked, hide, and go there. Is that working? Yep, it's working. Now, the next block of code. Go to events, and I'm going to drag over when this sprite is clicked. I'm going to go to sensing, and I'm going to make sure that this video is off. And then I'm going to broadcast main menu and hide. So I'll go to my events, broadcast. I want to change that to main menu, and I want to go ahead and hide. So when this main menu button is pressed, it's going to take back to main menu. And now lastly, I want to have it show up when I receive certain broadcasts. So when I receive diagram, I want to show. And I'm going to have it for 3 of the things. I don't want it to show up during my quiz. I want people to have to go through my quiz. I don't want them to opt out of it. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to stamp this code 3 times and make 3 different copies. When I receive diagram, show up. When I receive fun facts, show up. And lastly, when I receive scene, or sorry, it was called parts, right? You can decide if you want it to show up for quiz, but let's go ahead and file, save now. Let's see how this is all looking. When flag clicked, that's there. When I go to diagram, oh, there's that main menu button, and it works. Great. If I go to diagram, my code is still working. Okay.
For the nose.
If I go to fun facts, I can see that. Here's a little glitch.
This recording is about the trachea.
Is that if I click on the main menu, my fun facts sound still plays. So just be aware of that. And lastly, interactive scene. Yep, that button is going to stay there while I have this going on, but at least I can get out if I need to. At this point, you are done with your project. Make sure that everything's working. There is one glitch I want you to be aware of. This diagram, you know how we have these coordinates?
The example for the nose.
If I can find that same place here,
going to make my recording.
Did you see that?
Is about the trachea.
It starts playing even if I'm not on that particular diagram. It's just sensitive to that particular area. So that's a little glitch. It's not worth the effort to fix that glitch. I think it'll be fine just as is. Congratulations, great job on getting this done.